In this video, we are going to talk about Rahu's transit into the sign of Pisces and Ketu going through Virgo through the nakshatra of Pisces for next 1.5 years from 2023 to the mid 2025. So keep watching. Namaste and welcome to Pramanik Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahajan. I help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrology. And if you're new to my channel and if you want to start your journey into Vedic astrology, check out my free training for 3 hours. It's a free workshop which will help you to get started into Vedic astrology, and you would be able to start reading your own birth chart even if you have no background to Vedic astrology. So check out the live training, check out the free workshop. Link is in the description. Now, Rahu into the sign of Pisces. Rahu always moves backwards. Rahu is always retrograde. So Rahu is always moving backward, and so when it is into the sign of Pisces, when it moves from Aries to Pisces, this is the beginning of the new cycle for Rahu and Ketu. And Rahu and Ketu bring in changes. These are the planet Chaya Graha or shadow planets which are responsible for transformation and changes in one's life. So when these planets change the sign, it's very important. Usually I don't make transit videos, but when it comes to Saturn, Jupiter and Rahu, I like to address them because these three are important transits. Okay, and here's a disclaimer. Don't follow transits blindly, okay? Because individual horoscope is far more important. The yogas you have, the dashas you are going through is far more important. So consider the transits as weather and consider the dashas as the road you're going through, the path of your life. So dashas are far more important than transit. So you may be having the worst transit. Let's say you're going through Sade Sati. Saturn is moving through the 12th and all kinds of challenging transits. But let's say you're going through the Mahadasha of the 10th house, Mahadasha of the Lagna, Mahadasha of your Amatya Karaka. So you will have challenges, but it would be worth fighting for. And the results would be in your favor. So this is how you have to first priority should be given to the dashas. Always remember, and I've already made a video on transit versus dasha, and I have emphasized this point and I have explained few other points there. If you want to check out that video as well, link is in the description or maybe on the I button. Now, Rahu is moving to the sign of Pisces. The sign of Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, is water element sign, is dual sign. And Rahu is coming into this sign. What is Rahu? Rahu is the planet which is about confusion, illusion, extraordinary energy, focus, thinking beyond time. All these things can be seen with Rahu. Now what is happening is the planet of Rahu, the planet of illusion, is coming into the sign of imagination. So wherever these transits would be happening in your chart, you would be thinking creative about those areas of your life. Let's say you have Rahu going through the 2nd house of your horoscope or maybe the 9th house of your horoscope. So your creative thinking would be at a next level. Why? Because the illusionary Rahu is into the vague sign of Pisces. Pisces is the sign of duality. The planet of confusion comes into the sign of duality. So there would be times when you would be confused during this time. Okay, and I will also give you one way to deal with it, which will help you no matter where your Rahu is and where your transit is happening. Okay, so the planet of illusion is coming into the house, not house, the sign of imagination. Again, the sign of Pisces is an emotional sign. And Rahu is the planet which is about obsession. The planet of obsession comes into the sign which is emotional. So this Rahu in the sign of Pisces brings in emotional connections. Okay, more so depending upon all other planetary conditions as well. But this, Rahu does well into the signs of Jupiter. Now let's talk about each of the ascendant. What will happen with each of the ascendant? Let's talk about the Pisces Ascendant. Why Pisces Ascendant? Because it is moving into the Pisces Ascendant. This would be the first house. So if you have Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Moon, Rahu is coming over your Ascendant. And first house is the house of your personality. Is about the way you look at things. Is the way you have the orientation towards the life. Your philosophy towards the life can be seen with the first house. Okay, this is the first house. Now, the planet of transformation is transiting through this first house. So your body is going to change. You might think of changing your body. What do I mean by that? You might start working out. You might, do something related with cosmetics. Like you would do some, mm, you know, cosmetic treatments for your hair, for your face, for your skin, and you would like to upgrade your body. Like you would also love to work out. You would start a new health regime during this time. Okay. Now, along with this Rahu in the first house, Ketu is in the sixth house. What is Ketu? Ketu is about detachments. Ketu is about separations. It's more about the separations. Rahu is obsession. Ketu is separation. That's why he's a spiritual planet. Now that the Ketu is transiting through the seventh house for Pisces Ascendant. So these people will feel the detachment from their partner. They're feeling the separation emotionally from their partner. Their partner will question them for all the changes happening in them. So it's very difficult for the partners of Pisces Ascendant to see them change. Another thing with this Pisces Ascendant is this is the original 12th house. Now, the planet of transformation is coming into this. The deity associated with this, or the nakshatra through which this transit is happening, is Revati, which is related to the wealth. Okay, so now these people will be thinking about wealth creation. These will be always thinking about how I can make more money. The Rahu is about the obsession. So if you have any planets placed in here, you would feel obsession towards those areas of your life. Now, let's move on to the Aquarius Ascendant. The planet of Rahu is coming into the second house, and Ketu is transiting through the eighth house for Aquarius Ascendant. Second house is the house of things which we value, and Rahu is the planet of obsession and abundance. Rahu does not have a limit. It just amplifies wherever it goes. So when it is going over this Ketu, over this second house for Aquarius Ascendant, this is also about the big money. Rahu, the planet of abundance, is into the house of big money. So these people will be thinking about growing their money. Okay, and the 12th sign is also the sign of isolation. Pisces is the last sign, so it has the 12th house vibes to this sign as well. So when Rahu comes into this 12th sign, 12th house, it's more like an isolation for their future growth. Okay, now Ketu is in the 8th house. 8th house is the house of occult and mysticism, and Ketu is in the 8th house. Now these people get the support of Ketu in the 8th house, things of occult mysticism. Okay, but at the same times, it's the sign of Virgo. Virgo is about organization. Virgo is about depth. 8th house is a hidden deep house itself. So now these people will deep dive into the occult and mysticism with organized approach. Wherever during this transit, wherever it goes, in whichever house you have these transits going on, it's always about the 12th sign, which is about Pisces, which is about imagination, isolation, creativity, and wealth. And you have to balance these things with the 6th house Virgo things like organization, deep things, and how you bring in discipline. So Rahu will make you bring in imagination, and this Ketu Virgo thing will help you ground yourself so that you are not getting carried away. So that's the beauty of Rahu and Ketu. This is, if you have to take a take home message from this video, it's this: you have to balance between the Pisces imagination with the practicality of the Virgo. Okay, and then just apply it to your own houses, and this will start making sense to you. Rahu in the 3rd house. For Capricorn Ascendant, Rahu is in the 3rd house and Ketu is in the 9th house. 3rd house is the house of communication, and Rahu is a magician. The planet of illusion is coming into the house of communication. So this will make people listen to you more. People will be swayed away by your speech, your communication. And this Rahu is moving into the sign of Pisces. Pisces is isolation. So you might go into a break from the communication to the outer world. Okay, and Ketu in the 9th house. 9th house is the house of, again, religion, is the house of higher studies. Now Ketu loves it. Ketu in the 9th house is all about bringing in more belief and trying to find out things to believe so that you can take an effort. That is Rahu thing. Okay, that's what this balance is. Rahu is moving to the, let's move on to the sign of Ascendant of Sagittarius. For Sagittarius Ascendant, Rahu is moving into the 4th house. 4th house is the house of your home environment with your mother. Now, when you have Rahu placed in here, Rahu, first thing you have to understand about Rahu is change. So wherever Rahu is coming in, expect some change. Whether it's good or bad, whether you welcome it or not, it's coming in. So the condition of the Lord, condition of the planets already present in that house will change the dynamic for that particular house for this transit. For example, let's say Rahu is coming into the 4th house, and let's say you already have Venus placed into the 4th house in your natal chart. So now this Rahu, which is the planet of amplifying things, is coming into the 4th house of home environment, and you have the planet of luxury placed in here. So this will make you renovate your house, make your surroundings beautiful with exotic things, because Rahu is about these things and Venus is about the beautiful things, and all this is happening in the 4th house of your home environment, right? So you should expect some changes in your home environment during this time. For Scorpio Ascendant or Scorpio Moon, Rahu is going into the 5th house of Pisces. 5th house is the house of your heart. 5th house is third to third. Okay, 5th house is third from the third. And now Rahu is the planet of illusion. And 5th house is also the house of romantic relationships. So when Rahu is going over your Pisces in the 5th house, it shows some romantic relationships, maybe from a person from a different background. Because Rahu is about foreign things. 5th house is about love and romance. and it's transiting through this sign of Pisces, where Venus gets exalted. Again, any planet placed in here, why I'm emphasizing Venus? Because Venus gets exalted into Pisces, and when Rahu transits over this, it becomes even more powerful. And Rahu Venus is all about the materialistic obsession, money, big money. All these things can be seen with Rahu and Venus. Let's talk about the Libra Ascendant. For Libra Ascendant, Rahu is going through the 6th house and Ketu is moving through the 12th house. Rahu moving through the 6th house brings in discipline. Now, this is somewhat balancing because Rahu in the sign of 12th sign, Pisces, but going through the 6th house. So, otherwise, imaginary sign of Pisces is somewhat restricted by being in the 6th house, which is originally the 6th house, which is ruled by Mercury, Virgo. So it brings in that organization. So the energy of Rahu is well directed here due to the 6th house impact. And now these people will work and they will have more cash flows coming in for them. Why? Because Rahu is in the Artha Trikona houses. 2nd, 6th and 10th are the Artha Trine houses. The planet of Rahu is about abundance and is coming into the sign of Pisces in the nakshatra of Revati, which is about the goddess Lakshmi and the deity Pushan. Now, let's talk about the Virgo Ascendant. For Virgo Ascendant, Ketu is going through the 1st house and Rahu is going through the 7th house. 7th house is the house of partners. So you will have connection with a foreign partner, which is away from your community, which is different from your community, and probably which is foreign to your culture. And it will also give you a chance to establish yourself socially in the society, because this Rahu is about material things. And again, Rahu is going through Pisces and Revati, which is about wealth, and is going through the 7th house. 7th house is not only the house of relationship, but 7th house is 10th from the 10th. So it is the ultimate house of career. So this will give you rise in your career as well. Okay. Now, let's talk about the Leo Ascendant. For Leo Ascendant, Rahu is going through the 8th house and Ketu is going through the 2nd house. Now, this is the most trickiest of all the transits. Okay, when Rahu is going through the 8th house, it's very difficult to predict anything about this. Most of the times, astrologers can go wrong here because these people have some hidden things for themselves, which nobody else knows about them. So it's very difficult to predict anything about this. But again, it's going through the 8th house. So this is how the conditioning of this house is. It is the 8th house, which is the hidden house, a secretive house. It's into the sign of Pisces. Rahu is in the sign of Pisces, which is about the 12th house, which is again a hidden house. And Rahu itself is illusion, about not showing what you see. So there is no clarity for this placement. Even for us as a, when we are studying this, we don't have a clarity with that, what would happen. But 8th house is the house of sudden things. The planet of transformation goes into the house which is about sudden things. So you can expect sudden things during this 1.5 years. They may be good, they may be bad. Depends on where the Jupiter is placed in. What are the planets placed into the 8th house? Where is 8th Lord? How it is well placed? What is the strength of that? All these things will give you an idea about what's happening in the 8th house. Don't just jump to the conclusion. Oh, I get a lot of messages like, oh, I have Rahu going through the 8th house. Am I going to die? Let me tell you the truth. We all are going to die one day. Okay? Astrology should not put fear in you. Astrology should inspire you, should give you the roadmap about what is your strength, what is your weakness, what are your opportunities, and what are the threats to those opportunities. And that's what astrology is all about. Astrology should inspire you to become your greatest version and not just make you helpless about, not knowing anything. And all these things are important. People are afraid about 6th house, 8th house, 12th house. There are many rules, predictive rules about these houses, which I teach to my students. But you should know that there are very few people who have a tragic destiny. Most of us, we have the mix of good and bad. So I don't want anyone to afraid of any of the planetary placements. It just shows the challenges in front of you. If you have the strong will, if you have the grace of God with you, you don't have to worry about it. That fight back would be worth. Don't allow your temporary confusions about yourself to become the permanent conclusions about who you are. Okay, that's what Rahu is all about. Rahu is all about the confusions. Now, moving back to the 9th house. So when Rahu goes into the 9th house for Cancer Ascendant, let's talk about Cancer Ascendant. Rahu is going through the 9th house. 9th house is the house of teachers, is the house of Guru. So you would have a strong connection with a foreign Guru, a teacher. Okay, the planet of obsession goes into the 9th house of Guru. So you will get the guidance from the Guru, which is away from your house, which is away from your hometown, or which is away from your place, which is foreign to you and to your community. Now, again, if you have any planet placed into that Rahu, let's say you have Venus placed in, if you have Sun placed in, Mercury placed in, Saturn placed in, all these things will change the dynamic of this base prediction. Okay, so don't just jump into these transit predictions. Most of the times you will feel that you don't feel like they apply to you. That is because we all have a different scenarios, different yogas, different planetary alignments into those houses. Okay, now, so when Rahu goes into the 9th house, it's all about higher things. It's all about the higher understanding and obsession about the 9th house things, which is teacher, religion, higher self. 9th house is the higher self. 5th house is also the self. 1st house is also the self. 5th house is an evolved self, which is about intelligence. And the 9th house is about the higher self, that is thinking about spirituality, about God, and knowing beyond yourself there is a force which is operating. That is God. That is the higher self. Okay. Now, what happens with the Gemini Ascendant? For Gemini Ascendant, Rahu is going through the 10th house. Amazing. Rahu loves 10th house. Why? Rahu is the planet of confusion. Is going through the sign of Pisces, which is about confusion. But here is the thing. 10th house is the house of open sky. 10th house is right above your head, and that gives you the most clarity in the sky. So whenever you have any planet in the 10th house, it is Upachaya house, which grows with time, shows growth, recognition. And when Rahu comes in here, the otherwise confusing or confused and illusionary planet like Rahu gets the clarity. And Rahu has the strength already. Now, the planet of strength energy goes into the 10th house of recognition, of the status, of, known by the people, come into the light, live your purpose and things like that. At the same time, Ketu is going into the 4th house. 4th house, Ketu is one of the most challenging situations emotionally and with home environment. So whenever Ketu is in the 4th house, it's all about mastering your emotions. So you have to find something to do, that is the 10th house thing, which will make you feel good. And you don't have to think what other people will think. You don't have to think if you have money, you're going to get money out of this. So the more because money comes in when you stick to doing things consistently, and consistency comes out of discipline or the things for which you're passionate about. So it boils down to the things which you love to do. So even if you feel like whatever you love to do does not have the impact, but that is precisely the thing which will give you money and status and all the things you always wanted. Okay. Now for Taurus Ascendant, Rahu is going over the 11th house of gains. Amazing. Rahu loves to be in the Upachaya houses like 3, 6, 10, 11. Rahu loves to be in these houses. So when Rahu is transiting through the 11th house, it's all about gains. It's about huge gains. It is also about connection with the foreign group or foreign organization. When Rahu is in the 11th house, you will be connected with the large organization, which is what the 11th house is, which is from the foreign, which is probably from the foreign culture. And it is also about spirituality. So I would say you would be connected to a foreign organization which is about spirituality. Okay, so maybe you are from India and you are connected to maybe a spiritual group from some other country, or maybe you are in USA, or you are in UK or some other country, Australia, and you suddenly want to know more about the Vedic astrology, want to know more about the Indian culture or the Vedic culture, all these things. That's what happened when Rahu is in the 11th house. But at the same time, Ketu is in the 5th house. 5th house is about your emotions, and 5th house is also about your expressions. So as you're growing and connecting with a lot of people, it impacts the way you express. So it's going to impact, you won't be able to express freely. There would be restrictions on the way you express yourself because the impact you have is huge. So your reaction matters. What happens with the Aries Ascendant? For Aries Ascendant, Rahu is going over the 12th house. 12th house is the house of isolation. Is about your bed pleasures, is about spirituality, is about it is next to the first house, but it is the farthest from the first house. So it is about the illusion, or it is also about the loss. So the planet of illusion, which is Rahu, is coming into the house of illusion, into the sign of illusion and imagination. So this is the placement, or this is the transit which will bring in your creative side. You might get some divine guidance. You might connect with some other realms in your meditation. Okay, at the same time, Ketu is in the 6th house of work, so you would constantly be working. Okay, but at the same time, during this time, you would experience the magic of God. So yes, this was Rahu and Ketu for all the ascendants for next 1.5 years. And any planets placed in there would change the dynamic of these predictions and would bring in more and more detailing. Changing the condition would either increase the intensity, lower the intensity, change the dynamic of the nature of that transit for particular house, particular ascendant. Okay, so always check complete horoscope, analyze complete horoscope before you come to any conclusion. Okay, and don't do it for yourself. Just go to any astrologer if you believe in. Okay, don't go to too many astrologers. Just go to one astrologer you believe in and just follow him. Okay, and then you would see the magic. Then you would see how things are changing in yourself. Not visiting an astrologer, I mean to say when you start looking at your chart completely as a whole. Okay, so yes, this was it. If you want to learn Vedic astrology, check out my link into the description section. If you want to join my 33 days Vedic astrology bootcamp, link is in the description. Or if you want to explore Vedic astrology. These two videos on your screen will help you to deep dive into Vedic astrology, sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibes. See you in the next videos. Love and peace. Namaste.